Hello. Thank you guys so much for coming. This is so fun. We are so excited, and we have all of the questions that you had submitted ahead of time. So we're going to go ahead and just get right into them. I'll ask a question, and then Maria and I will discuss our feelings. We'll talk about it. So the first one is, what does it mean when you go out on a great first date, the guy texts the whole week, but then he doesn't make plans? What do you think, Maria?
See, this is why I like being a matchmaker, because I do not give people phone numbers. I want you to date like it's 1988. I don't want you text, falling in love with a complete stranger. And you're like, are we still meeting on Friday? He hasn't confirmed it.
Yeah. Yeah, in an ideal world, you wouldn't have your phones, but like you do. And I feel like this is a very common problem that happens. It's like you go on this great first date, you're texting for so long and nothing happens again. And I usually will say some sort of line about having a pen pal, but it's hard. If you've actually gone out already, then that line doesn't really work as much. You know, like what would you say if they're just texting?
When are we meeting in real life? I think, okay, we're going to talk about our first disagreement. You don't believe in the thank you text, right?
No.
Okay,
never.
I do believe in the thank you text. Because to me, it's like, if he likes you, it doesn't matter if you text him or not. If you can say it in a way where he can respond, like I would say, if he wants to see me again, or she, I would say something like, hey, I had a really great time tonight. Thank you so much for a lovely time. And period, that's it. And if he wants to see me again, well, I've just texted him. I've taken off the pressure of like, oh my God, do I have to wait 3 days, 2 days? What's the norm right now? And then he can reply. And if he doesn't reply, or if he doesn't reply with like, when can we do it again? Then there's your answer too. I feel like if we want to be in a relationship, we have to look for definitive behavior. Mm-hmm. But you disagree.
I do disagree.
Tell me more.
I think that exactly, you're correct. If he wants to see you again, he will ask to see you again. So why do you need to text, you know? And like, I feel like I truly talk about this so often
I can tell
in
you
episodes that I feel bad for anyone who's heard them, and I don't know how long.
I don't know. Tell me.
I mean, there's just so much to not sending a thank you text. There's like a whole breakdown on it. I'll give you like this shorter spiel. Basically, you've already thanked them on the date, okay? Unless you're like an animal and you didn't say thank you the first time, in which case, like, you definitely got to send that text, right? But you thanked them already. You want to let them now be the one to decide that they want to see you again, to think about it, to come up with it, right? If you're texting them, a lot of the time, even if someone won't admit it, they're doing it because they want to gauge if you had fun, you know? They want to get asked out again. But guys are like not that complicated. And if they had a good time with you and you were sweet and you said thank you, maybe you kissed, maybe they walked you home and you hugged, they'll make it possible to go out again. They'll ask you out again. And I find that texting them thank you does like 3 things. It interrupts their thought process that they would have come up with on their own. It makes them think, and guys do think like this, and like, it's just undeniable. They're like, oh my God, she's obsessed with me. She's so into me. Like, she had to text me. Like, we were together 5 hours ago, but she needed to text me. And 3, it's just, it's like, it's redundant, you know? Like, why do we have to always be thanking men? Like, I'm over it.
That deserves a clap. Why do we always have to thank men? Okay. Well, I'm going to say this now from not a Maria perspective, but a Matchmaker Maria perspective. The amount of men that I have heard tell me after setting up a date or whatever, it's like, well, I don't think she likes me because she didn't send me that thank you text. Or I spent $200 on a date. Yeah, some people, you know, let's talk about Manhattan, right? Brookfield Place. Trivia night on Tuesdays. You know, some people might be spending money and they're like, well, I want to see if she's interested. Because if she's not interested, I'm not interested. It's kind of like that ego thing. I think it's okay. What's the worst thing that could happen? If a guy's into you, it doesn't matter if you send it. So by sending it, it's like, well, she's really sweet. That's what he's going to think.
Maybe. Or she's really desperate and she wants a boyfriend.
If a guy likes you, he's not going to think you're desperate. He's going to think you're really sweet.
Maybe.
But we can agree. Look, the good thing about having different perspectives is that there's enough singles to prescribe on what they want. So if you don't want to text, awesome. And if you do want to text, fantastic.
Well, I will say one last
answer.
point about that, which is that I would never want to date a guy who's like, I spent $200 on her. She better be thanking me again. You know, like that's not a guy that I want to be with. I want to be with a guy who's like, she's worth the $200. Just so worth it that I'm actually going to text her again. You know? But I like the debate. I do. So going on to the next question, somebody asked, they said, best places to meet men in the wild. What to say, especially when it's somewhere random like the grocery store. What has worked for you and what happens if friends don't have anyone to set me up with? I've tried.
Okay, so much to break down here. So I feel like when we're in the grocery stores now, everyone's wearing a mask, and that's like a big risk because you don't know this person. So what if they've got like what if you don't really like them physically? So we'll just put that aside for a second. I don't believe in the concept of like all of my friends don't have people to set me up with. You need to make new friends. And if I could give you some homework tonight is I want you to meet 2 new people today you've never met before. Like we're literally in a room of like-minded people, right? You have to make new friends because let me tell you, their friends are your newest opportunity to meet someone special.
Yeah, that's great homework. And I do agree with that. Expand your circle always. I think that if you are in the wild, if you're in this grocery store situation, or if it were me, like I love to bring up something that's like a common denominator or something lighthearted. Like we're both like reaching for like the rice-a-roni. And I'm just like,
I wouldn't want to date a guy who uses rice-a-roni.
What? It's so good.
Do you wash your rice?
Rice-a-roni chicken?
Do you wash your rice?
No. Wait, what? People wash rice? In rice-a-roni pack?
See, this is what... No, not rice-a-roni packs. But
no,
this
that's
is a
what
good
I'm saying.
question.
That's
I would
what I'm
ask,
saying.
like...
In the rice-a-roni pack, I don't wash the rice.
Do you wash white rice?
I mean, no. Wait, guys.
This is the best icebreaker, by the way. If you are looking for an online dating prompt, talk about rice.
Wait, can you raise your hand if you also didn't know that you have to wash your rice? Oh, thank you.
And how many of you do wash your rice?
Okay, so while we're on the subject of washing food, raise your hand if you wash chicken. No, you need to stop. You need to stop because that's not okay.
See, these are good dating prompts.
No, they are. I think it was like 4 years ago I learned that you shouldn't wash chicken. You just pat it down with paper towels. Yeah. So now everyone knows. Okay, but going back to what I would say, so let's say we're both reaching for the rice-a-roni or something else, I would make some sort of joke or comment about like, did you, I don't know, like the chicken flavor is obviously the best, right? Like just something casual, not like so much pressure for them to engage with you unless they want to, you know, like they could chuckle and then walk away, or they can be like, no, it's all about the shrimp. I don't even know if that's a flavor. But something like that, or like, you know, if you're online at a bagel place in the city and like it's taking forever, you could just be like, oh, it's worth the wait though, right? Or like anything. Just give them an opening to talk to you. And then when all else fails, you look familiar is a good lie.
That's great.
That you can just go along with.
I also like I feel like the mask gives us a lot of crazy confidence. Does anyone agree here? Okay. So I'm not alone here. So if I were single right now, I would totally go up to a guy and be like, you're cute. Just pause. Don't say anything after that. Just like, you're cute. What's he gonna, if he rejects it, it's like, well, you only know half my face, so we're okay. Like I can walk out, I'll put my sunglasses on. I've never existed. But to go back to, out in the wild, it's so important to even create the opportunities to go out in the wild. So, if you follow my advice, you know that I'm going to say, you have to take out your calendar, take it out after this, when you watch the recording of this, of course, and block out your calendar 2 times a week. These are the days that you have to be social. I'll give you a really cool thing I learned today. This place has a trivia night every Tuesday. that is something that should be in your social calendar. It doesn't have to be every Tuesday. You can come every other Tuesday, but you're meeting new people. You're never going to meet someone if, like, pre-pandemic, most people went home, work, gym, work, home, work. This is your network, right? And then, of course, pandemic, home, gym at home, work at home. Like, everyone is home. So now you have to do different things. You have to really go out of your way to increase your network. Now, I know I just said something that is insane if you're introverted. You don't have to do it every week. Do it every other week. But you have to find ways to create the opportunities to go out. And what did I say before? You have to always meet 2 new people you've never known before. It doesn't matter if it's a woman. You're gonna date her friends. Date her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, just don't get too close to her first. Somebody asked if we believe in right person, wrong time / reaching out to a missed connection. What do you think?
I don't believe in. Do you believe?
No, I'm so glad we agree on something.
We agree on a lot of things.
I do not believe in right person, wrong time. I think if it were the right person, it would be the right time, truly.
Can I blow your mind?
Yeah.
So we live in a 4-dimensional world, right? We've got latitude, longitude, height, and time. So the person that Lindsey is today on Thursday at 6:55 on October 28th. How tall are you?
5'7".
5'7". So we know the coordinates now, right? 4 dimensions. She's going to be a different person a year from now. She's had different opportunities. She's learned things. Even tomorrow, if she's sitting here tomorrow, she's a whole different person. So that person, that right person, wrong time, I think that's a myth to make us feel nostalgic over something that we couldn't have, when really that person had an opportunity to date you and they chose not to, based on what you knew in that 4 latitude dimension.
It's true. I feel like that needs a
4
clap.
dimension.
That needs a clap. Like, it is so true. That, if there's any takeaway from tonight, it's that there's no such thing as right person, wrong time, for sure.
But how about, like, what happens if someone, like, one of the things that I keep seeing now because of J-Lo and Ben Affleck is like, oh, you see this? How do you feel about them being together again?
I feel like they both need each other in this moment, but that doesn't mean anything necessarily. Yeah. Like, would I love for them to be together forever? Of course.
Me too.
But I think they both need each other for work, for ego, for sex, for like a lot of things right now. So it's working for them.
I think when you have, like, I think, everyone's on this highway, right? In relationships, right? And some of that highway is like, I want to get engaged, or I want to get married, or I want to have kids, or I don't want to get married, or I don't want to have kids. And everyone has their lane, right? And so, J-Lo went off this exit and she had kids with Mark Anthony. And Ben Affleck went on his lane and had children with Jennifer Garner. And then they went back on the highway again. And it's like, 20 years have passed? I'll let this pass. This seems like a different thing. It's because you're on a different, it wasn't the same highway before. New things have happened. Mm-hmm. So that's a very interesting couple to look for.
Definitely. Somebody had submitted how to get over dating fatigue. Example, have lots of first dates, but then never hear back from the guy. So I have to start over and over again. It's very tiring to keep up new texting combos. And then same paragraph, why do guys keep ghosting?
I would love for you to go first.
I would say so this might be a controversial answer, but like, you need to get over the fact that dating creates fatigue, because like, that's just part of dating. There's so many people that date, like, go on 100 dates before they meet the person, and no one's like unique. Like, you're not the only one who's like, oh, dating. Like, that's why there's so many dating podcasts and so many matchmaking services. Like, everyone kind of gets burnt out from dating. And like, you can throw the towel in, but like, no one's gonna knock down your door and be like, I want to make you my girlfriend or boyfriend. So I think that you really need to, like, instead of thinking, oh my God, this is so tiring, reframe it and like change your attitude towards it. Like, this is so fun. I get to date. I'm in this part of my life where like, I get to go on these fun dates with people and meet new people and make new friends and like try new foods. And this is so fun. And it's all about your mindset. And if you take it less seriously and you have fun with the apps and have fun with the new conversations, like you don't have to be like, what's your favorite color? You can say something, what did we just debate about? Rice-A-Roni. Like you can, actually banter with someone and have it be fun as opposed to boring and tiring. It doesn't have to be, how is your week going? You can think outside the box. And so I think if your attitude is different towards this, you'll have a different experience. And like most people are not single forever. So like enjoy this time.
I totally agree with the notion of I get to date. That is so exciting. I think it's awesome to be single. I loved being single. I don't miss it because I know it sucks, but I also loved it because it was fun. You get to do different things. And one of the things that you could do is don't look at dating as like, okay, I'm going to go for a cocktail, I'm going to go for a meal. Wrap your day around dating. Like I want to do fun things. A really great relationship hack is how can I input dopamine into the situation? Maybe some of you know that I've mentioned, go witness a murder. That's a really great way to fall in love with someone, right? Or cross the West Side Highway. That's a really great way to fall in love with someone because you're adding dopamine into the situation. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious. I'm kidding. Please do not go witness a murder. And if you do, call the cops. However, what you could do, though, is create situations where you get to have fun and they're your date to that. Friend's birthday party. Hey, want to come? I don't have a problem bringing I don't know how you feel about this, but I have no problem bringing a first date to a friend group thing. To me, that's like, oh, how do I look when I'm around this person? Did you like me? Because if you didn't, I need to let them go. Or for instance, I'm going to keep pushing this trivia night thing because I think it's brilliant. Bring them to trivia night. See how they are in a competitive field. Oh my God, the emotional range you can learn about someone in a competitive environment. You wanted to go see, well, screw the Knicks, but if you want to go see a Nets or someone beat the Knicks, take them to that. I know you're a New Yorker, so you probably
Why are you saying this about the Knicks?
I hate Jimmy Dolan.
I'm so hurt. No, I agree with you. Like, it's so fun to mix in the dopamine. I actually I don't agree with bringing a first date to a birthday. Okay. I think you can bring like a fourth date. Yeah, to a birthday. But I personally am a huge fan of like a comedy show on like a second or third date because it's so important to see what they laugh at. And if you have the same sense of humor, and like if they laugh at something that you definitely don't think it's funny, then you're like, But if they laugh at something that you're both hysterically laughing, you're having a good time together, it's definitely a good sign. This is a really fun question that both Maria and I loved. Can I do a hoe phase and try to look for a relationship at the same time?
Yes. I met my husband at the end of a hoe phase. So what is a hoe phase? Let me define that on my end. It's a mindset. It's not a noun. It's not a verb. It's not an adjective. It's getting to do some sexual exploration without the idea of the prism of, can this be a relationship? How many of us have not gone on a first date because you thought, I would never marry this person? Everyone's hand should be up here. I've met 10,000 women in the city of New York in the last 13 years. I know exactly what's happening. So this is a way of like looking at like, oh, this person's an experience. Does hoe phase mean you get to, are there any kids here? Get to them? No, I know they're here. Don't be mad. But no, it's about getting to know them in a different way without the expectation of this being something. And I just mentioned that I met my husband at the tail end of my 2012 hoe phase. And it was fantastic because when I met him, I was like, oh, he's interesting. I'm very curious to get to know him. And what was great about that is I wasn't distracted by like my horniness or like wanting to take off his clothes. I was like, oh, I want to get to know him. And it made me focus. And it wasn't just him. I met other interesting people during that too. But for him, obviously, whatever, I married him, I had kids, but it happens. What do you think? Tell me about your last hoe phase.
I think that, well, it's so funny because I don't think there's the term hoe phase. I'm like, I don't love it. And the reason is because like sexual liberation, like if you want to sleep with someone, that's great. You're not a hoe. So like there's no hoe phase, like that I'm like, eh. But I will say you can absolutely have like a friend with benefits and try to look for a relationship at the same time. You can be sleeping with someone casually and try to look for a relationship at the same time. You can be, sleeping around if that's something that you want to do and try to look for a relationship. I think the problem with this question is the try to look for a relationship, because when you're trying so hard to look for a relationship, it's a little harder to find a relationship. I think enjoy this phase of your life, whatever it might be. And your like radiance and your smiling and your good energy will like attract someone to want to be in a relationship with you. So I think there's no such thing as like, hoe phase and a relationship not being able to like coincide for sure. For sure. Can you talk about the transition from a casual hookup into a relationship? I have a very controversial opinion on this.
I want to hear your controversial opinion.
My controversial opinion is that there is no transition because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
That's not controversial, is it?
Maybe. I feel like the only way that it could happen is if you're the reason that it's as a woman in a hetero situation, if you're the one that's like, I want this to be casual. Like, you've seen Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached. It's always the woman in those movies that's like, I'm not doing this with you. I have to be a doctor and like, I don't have the time. Only if the woman is the one who decides they want to be casual and then changes their mind does it work for some reason. That's just my experience. That's just what I've seen with relationships. But if the guy is like, I want to be casual, he's not all of a sudden going to be like, wait, I'm in love with you. It just doesn't happen.
No.
If someone treats you exactly how you want to be treated, is great at communicating, checks all your boxes, makes you feel safe, but doesn't necessarily make you feel the spark, is this a you problem of being used to unsafe, volatile connections? Or is it not your person despite being so close?
I would love to know who asked this question and just have a conversation because it's coming from a place of where does the problem begin with me and where does it begin with the person that I'm dating? And, all relationships are 50-50. And, we all come in with our own trauma, with our own experiences, with our own opportunities, just that whole everything. So I'd love to know what you think.
I think that it's not a you problem, and it makes me sad that this person thinks it's a them problem, because I've been this person, and if you're in the crowd, it's not a you problem. They're not your person. Just because they check every box and you're supposed to like someone like them doesn't mean that you're always going to, and that's okay. And like, it's not like you're making some horrible mistake getting rid of someone who's a good person. We should date good people. That doesn't mean that we have to marry all of them just because they're good on paper and they're nice to us. Like, imagine if at your wedding day, someone's like, so why did you marry so-and-so? And you're like, well, he was really nice. And like, he was good on paper. Like, no. So I feel like you don't need to have a reason for not feeling some sort of spark or something with someone. I find that like women get almost bullied into staying with these type of guys. And like, no, there's plenty of nice guys to go around.
I agree. And have you looked at wedding dresses yet?
I already have a dress.
Oh, okay. How many dresses? So Lindsey has recently become engaged. Clap. Good. And I always think about wedding dresses. All right. I bet, Lindsey, did you try on a few dresses?
I did. I tried on a lot.
I bet they all looked beautiful on you.
Really
but you're only going to walk down the aisle with one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing here in dating, right? We always meet these, like, we could meet people that are like, yeah, I could date this guy, or this could work, or maybe it doesn't, whatever. But you're like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just that one dress, just like it's that one guy. And I find that that's a way to think about these things. One of the things that I find myself struggling with a lot at work is sometimes I meet women that are 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, right? And they want to have kids. And if they belong to a subculture where they're being told, okay, you're Jewish and the guy you have to marry is Jewish, or you're Greek and he has to be Greek, or you're Indian, he has to be Indian, Lebanese, pick your poison, right? Sometimes we will stay in these toxic relationships just because they fit a subculture plot, like they're this. And that's not the way to be in a relationships, right? Just because someone, like I'm Greek, right? Just because my husband is Greek, and that's by chance, that's in spite of him that we're together. But like, just because he's Greek does not mean that he's a good boyfriend, doesn't mean he's a good husband, doesn't mean he's a good father. That's just one thing that we share. And one of the things that I constantly see is like when I hear people say, okay, I'm Greek, and so I can only date Greek people. No, you can open it up. When I ask them, why does he have to be Greek? They'll say stuff like, well, I don't want to explain Easter to them. Easter's one day a year, and you have that conversation one time. Are you saying, like, I don't remember in my Big Fat Greek Wedding, Fotula telling Ian, like, Christos Anesti like 1,000 times. You said it once and then you let it go. And I think, we can put any culture in there, but it's the same thing over and over again. I feel like we get into these weird patterns because of maybe societal expectations or maybe what we expect of ourselves of some timeline we've put on our lives. But it's like you said, it's not a you problem. It's you have to free yourself out of this mindset and kind of find a new path.
Yeah. And it's also like, I don't know if other people experience this, but like your parents sometimes put pressure on you to find this kind of person. Like they'll be like, wait, what? Like you want to break up with Josh? He's Jewish and he's from a nice family and we love his parents. And so like then you feel bad disappointing them. Maybe you have single friends who are like, wait, what? Why would you ever break up with
Josh?
Jason? Like he, I would love to have a Jason. Like it's just like not everyone needs to understand it and get it. And then moving along to dating apps. So what advice on dating profiles do you have to get more responses?
I want to say 3, but I have the best one is color. So if you have black and white photos, or photos of you looking away, or photos of you not showing your smile, or photos of, these weird angles, or photos of you in sunglasses, photos of your hats, like so much of your online dating profile is especially the first photo is the cover page of your marketing plan, right? Because think about how the genders swipe, right? When women swipe, they do this. Oh, pretend this is a hand. Oh, okay. Josh. Okay. Interesting photo. Let me go down. Okay. That's his bio. Okay. Let me look at the photos. Oh, he looks, okay. Everything looks similar. Okay. Swipe right. Okay. Jason. Okay. Oh, no, that's fish photo. Swipe left. All right. So we have like a thoroughness here, right? Because women are, kind of hunter-gatherer, right? Information gatherers here. And then you have men who are a little bit like more hunter and they're like, right, left, right, left. And then when there's a match, then they'll go back to the profile and be like, okay, let's look about Melissa. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll communicate with her. So the genders in a heteronormative world are looking at apps in a very different way. And if you're a single woman, your online dating profile is the first photo is your marketing plan. It's your cover page. And the other remaining photos have to be accurate and look like the first photo. And color just plays such an important part here. If you now walk in the East Village and you see something like bright yellow and bright red, take a photo in front of it. If you have a green shirt or a blue, like a lighter blue dress, wear it. These colors have a higher click-through rate. They also have a high approachability rate in real life. So there's different ways to kind of hack a little bit the apps to get more matches, and that's usually like my go-to tip.
I think that's a great tip. I would also say something on your profile that's different than everyone else. So like, like love Harry Potter or like love traveling. Like we've seen it before. Tell me something new and different and interesting, like a controversial opinion you have. Or, and also keep it positive. Like the worst thing you can have on a dating app is like, don't message me if you don't like lo mein or something. It's like that you're already being negative and saying like, don't message me, And the whole point is like, keep it open and less intimidating. So like, let your freak flag fly, I think, on dating apps and like embrace your weird and say it so that when people respond to you, not only do they get excited because it's something different and new, but they're responding to your like authentic thought or authentic self, not just like love going on a hike on a weekend in the fall. Like we all love that,
Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. I'd love to know your opinion. If you were on Hinge or OkCupid, where women can message men first, obviously as well, but it's not up to the woman. Like it doesn't have to just be the woman. Men can too. Do you believe women should message men first?
Absolutely.
Me too.
I think on a dating app, it's different than going up to someone like necessarily. And I think you can't always find someone. Like a guy is not seeing every girl possible on a dating app. So sometimes you have to get in there. And that's totally fine. But then let them initiate after that. Like you can send the first message, but then don't also ask them on a date.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Do you have a favorite dating app?
I love Hinge and I like Bumble too.
I love OkCupid.
Okay,
I love the
Cupid's
filters.
great. Yeah, there's a lot of questions you can ask. It's like more personal, which is nice. Okay, what should you do at the 3-month mark of the guy if the guy you're talking to hasn't made things official? Do you ask him where it's going or just move on without saying much?
Do you believe exclusivity means that you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend?
No.
I do. And so what I would say is, it doesn't have to be a 3-month mark. I would actually go a lot sooner, maybe like 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I would say something like, I would literally say this, I am growing feelings for you. And I would like to be in an exclusive relationship where I can call that person my boyfriend. How do you feel about that? It's okay. We can disagree. You don't have to do what I say.
Don't do that. I would not do that. But you know what? Maybe we would be attracting a different guy, and that's okay. What I would do, so it's the 3-month mark. They haven't made things official. I would either move on, or if you need to say something, what I would say is I statements. So like, I've really been enjoying getting to know you. I wouldn't say anything like I like you, I'm growing feelings for you. Just like I'm enjoying getting to know you. You know, like this is something I'm looking for is, you know, to have an official relationship. If that's not something that you're like working towards with me, then cool, like have a good one. I have to say though, I was so cringy just even saying that. Don't say it. Like just don't say it. Just if you have to question it after 3 months, it's a red flag to begin with, I think. I really do.
That's why I mentioned 6 weeks. 3 months to me is way too long.
Way too long. Someone knows exactly if they want to make you their girlfriend or boyfriend at 3 months. 100%. So they're just kind of stringing you along while they figure out their next move at that point. Unfortunately. How to check upfront about COVID vaccination status, other STDs without killing the possibility of a new relationship.
I recently had to do this with, I had a play date for my kids, the first one in a really long time. And I didn't even think to ask if like, is this woman vaccinated? Like, I don't want to hang out with her if she isn't. I just texted her, hey, just so you know, I'm vaccinated. Can't wait to see you later. And by saying like about myself, she responded, oh yeah, me too. And I think that's like a very natural response. I didn't have to ask her if she is. When it comes to STDs, I am all about that conversation. I think if you practice with your friends, practice in the mirror, but I would love to know I would literally say, I would love to know about your last STD check. Do you want to go do that on a third date with me or something? Like I would try to make it a fun thing. I don't think it's taboo to ask someone if they have an STD. And if they do, there's a lot of knowledge there. You know, we can learn so much about, oh, you have herpes. Let's talk about that. Tell me more. I don't even know how you contracted it. I need to learn more about how you protect yourself. When was your last, breakout? Or if you have herpes, you can talk about it. I feel like we need to normalize these conversations because 1 in 4 people have herpes. There are people in this room who have herpes. It's not a big deal. It's just an STD that we can get past. There's other things that are more frightening in life than this. And I think having this casual conversation about STDs should happen without hesitation. It also makes sex way more fun.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with everything you said. So the way that it's come up, like from my experience, is I'm very much like gung ho about like I will not have sex with someone without a condom. And so usually if it's like a guy who is, you know, trying to not do that, then naturally it will come up immediately and they'll, you know, go on some like trying to convince you not to because they just got tested, blah, 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 blah. And then in that case, it kind of poses the opportunity to be like, okay, when were you last tested? Because first of all, I'm not doing it anyway, but I'm just curious, and then they will tell you or they'll show you, and then you can have that discussion. But I would say if you're really concerned about being safe, then you have to have that conversation before you, go any further or let anything near you, in you, whatever. I don't know how.
Everyone's different. Everyone different parts. But I think also this is a conversation to have fully clothed and not necessarily in the bedroom. My favorite hard conversations are actually on walks. When you're walking, you're not looking at each other eye to eye. So you can let your eyes wander. You can have those anxious conversations and you're walking side by side so they can also look away. There's no interview pressure. And so to me, I think I've had the majority of my STD conversations on a walk, even with hookups. As we're walking home, hey, tell me about your last STD check. We're still wearing a condom, but there's a lot of things I can get even when you're wearing a condom. So I need to know, and I'll tell you mine. You can go to Planned Parenthood, and I would take a photo and I would show it. I love talking about sex and I love talking about safety. And it's not just STDs, pregnancy. There's a whole other thing there. So I think we have to normalize these conversations, especially in 2021.
For sure.
Are the rules different for more mature users of dating apps?
Are you talking about age?
Yes.
I personally don't think so, but I'm curious what Maria thinks.
I don't think so, but it's case by case because I think when you get older, you start to see these really weird plateau steps, right? So you'll suddenly see maybe 30% of male users, single straight male users, start asking for stuff 10 years younger, 15 years younger. And the only reason they're asking that is because they have the ability to search, right? To them, it makes them think oh, I can date all of these women, when really they have to also opt in. So it gives this really false sense of hope for a certain segment of the population. And then there's all of these women who don't want to date a man 25 years younger, even though that could be a lot of fun in the bedroom because they'll have more stamina. You have this weird bottleneck. And I think for people that are over 45 or over 55, I always say stuff this is the time to invest in that country club. This is the time to do in real life events. This is the time to work yourself through different meetups that exist for your age group. But also there are restaurants and bars that do have an older clientele. And I would start investing my time in going into the places. Online dating is a great tool. I believe everyone should be online dating. I see this as a matchmaker. I believe everyone should be online dating in 2021 because not online dating is like not having an email. But with that being said, there are certain people that need to do more things offline, and that will help you navigate these weird bottleneck opportunities. Because the fact of the matter is, this applies to all ages, if you went to a wedding and there was an open bar, you're not thinking to yourself, oh, is he 5'10"? Is he Jewish? Is he, oh, he's a little balding. That's okay. You opt in because you're enjoying yourself and you're curious about them. And online, it's this warped world of well, I have choice and I'm going to be really selective. And that's really tough.
Maria, I was wondering if you could talk about your 12-date rule. And then Lindsey, I'd be curious your thoughts on the 12-date rule.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is.
Tell us.
Okay. So I just want to say really quick that you don't have to follow rules. Rules are meant to be broken. Okay. So let's just start with that. So the 12-date rule is this method that I developed in a way of thinking about dates as a way of learning about someone's emotional range. Sometimes, especially women, I feel like we get so much oxytocin when we have sex with someone. I mean, you can get that just from cuddling and kissing, but especially with sex, that we start to make up stories and sanctify this person that we're with, thinking that they're the best, when really there might be pink flags and red flags that we don't see. So the 12-date rule is I want you to wait until 12 dates. But I have date math. That's insane. So 12 dates is actually not 12 dates. It's kind of weird. So I believe that a date is anything that is on the phone, a video call, or in person that's a minimum of 20 minutes, max 3 hours. And now you can have up to 2 dates in one day. So let's say Melissa goes on an 8-hour date. That counts as 2 dates. It's not 2.5. 3 of those 12 dates have to be in person. So if you want to talk to someone on the phone, if you want to do FaceTimes, fantastic. But 3 of those dates have to be in person. So for most people, 12-date rule, that's usually about 2.5, 3 weeks. Why I'm asking you to do this is because you are putting in a purpose of actually getting to know someone. Because here's what happens. How many of you have fallen in love with a person over text? Okay, those don't count as dates. I need you to get on the phone. I need you to do FaceTime if you're not meeting in person, because this way you learn about their emotional range. What do I mean by that? What I want you to learn is 4 things in the 12-date rule method. The first, what is he like on a bad day? The second, what is he like on a good day? The third, what is he like when you're having a bad day? And the fourth, and this is the most important, what is he like when you're having a good day? How many of us have been in relationships with people when you got a promotion at work or when something amazing happened, they said, oh, great, now you're not going to be home even longer? A lot of us. I don't want some of you raised your hands secretly. I see you, okay? But like, I understand that. And that's not a relationship that I want you to be in. And unfortunately, here's what happens. Sometimes I don't believe that we can have sex too soon. If you want to have sex whenever you want. I just want you to be mindful of their emotional range, because sometimes we really do ignore the pink flags and the red flags. Oh, he's having a bad day, and that's why he was short with me when I had a good day. No, if you're having an awesome day, they should be proud of you. You got a promotion? Let's go to get a champagne and pop this open. And unfortunately, that's what we this is what I feel like a lot of bad relationships happen. Oh, I had sex on a 3rd date, and then he never called me again. Well, that's going to happen with anyone. By the way, you could have sex with someone on the 12th date, and they could also disappear. But you know what? I've had over 300 women contact me directly in the last 18 months, like pandemic times, tell me that they did it and that they're in relationships. Like I literally screenshot them and put them in the highlight reel of my Instagram because I think it's amazing to see that. But there's also women who are like, oh, I did it. We got to 8 dates and I realized I'm not into this person. I know I just gave you the long definition, but I wanted to make sure, I think sometimes people think it's like, oh, I'm promoting purity culture. No, I just talk about hoe phases. I don't believe in purity culture. I believe that we have to be more mindful of who we date and who we allow into our lives without the distraction of sex.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the rule or the concept.
I'm going to put that on my Instagram bio now. Lindsey Metselaar.
But I agree with it for kind of different reasons. I just think that it's so much hotter to build this tension. When you're dating someone, so instead of oh, I'm not going to sleep with them because X, Y, and Z, I think it's build that tension. And then I also think, and actually we had a great episode on this with a man named Jonathan Asley. And, he basically said that men, they fall in love with women based on time spent with them. And women, I forgot what he said, that women fall in love with men. Maybe it was sex or something like that. But I really do believe that the part of the reason that, people don't get a call after a one-night stand or the 3rd date, they have sex and they don't hear from them is because they almost don't have enough to hold on to when it comes to you, because they haven't really fallen for you yet. They don't know you that well. So I think that's a big part of it too. But I think we're essentially saying the same thing.
I think we are. And I also want to mention that there are people here who will tell me, well, I married the guy I had sex on the 1st date. That is amazing. Congratulations. You won the lottery. Wow. But how many of us in this room had sex with someone we really liked on the 1st date and they never called again? And I know everyone's hands are going to go up, so you don't have to do that right now. But that is what happens. We're talking about I don't want us to live in this world of exceptions.
Agreed.
Can I ask a personal question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I work in sales, and I have a client whom I speak to frequently via phone over work stuff. But we now have crossed over and we're friends. We hang out socially, we go to bocce together, we go to drinks, we do things in the city together. But we've never crossed the line of the what if. And I kind of have grown a crush on this person. Do I make a move?
I honestly feel like I don't even know this person, but they're into you. Like, I just get that
100%.
vibe. Like, you're doing all this stuff with them that's like coupley. It's very possible that they have no idea that you would be down for something like that. I'm sure they don't need a new friend. So, yeah, why not? I think in this case.
I agree. I don't think straight men hang out with straight women to be friends. Like, you can be friends with men. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. But you don't hang out on the regular with people you don't want to date. Like, you can have a friend and you hang out once a month or whatever, or have that sort of relationship where you can be best friends. But it doesn't sound like you're best friends. It sounds like you guys are going on dates. So I would start using ellipses. Is that the word for ... in your text messages? To kind of like insinuate like there's more to say. And then maybe he'll be like, what? And you'll be like, I don't know. I was just thinking. What were you thinking? I don't know. What are you thinking? I don't know. I'm just making up a text exchange here, but it creates a little tension.
So I'm newly-ish single, and I just started doing the apps again, which I'm older, so I'm kind of like, well, like, what's this like? Is it normal, or is this like a post-COVID thing? I feel like every day I'm chatting with someone and they want to hop on the phone, and I was just curious, like, is that a normal thing? Because I know, like, I try to not be immediately available for dates, and I also don't want to be immediately available for a phone call either. Like, I have stuff to do. Does it make it seem like I'm not interested if I'm going to be like, oh, I can't talk right now, but maybe tomorrow or 2 days from now or something? Like, is this the new norm? I don't know, because of COVID, are people more, do you find doing like phone screens or virtual dates before and in person?
I've never heard of that. I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never heard of it being mandatory now, where we are today, to go on the phone with them before a date. I think it's so okay to be like, I work really hard. I don't really have time to go to have a phone call with you. Would love to do this date in person if you want, if you're up for it. If not, totally understand. Like, I think it's almost like, who are these people? I've never heard of anyone who wants to go on the phone.
What age range are these men?
Yeah.
I'm 37, and these are guys in their early 40s. But I kid you not, yesterday I got 6 requests for a phone call.
I think
and
this
was
is
like,
normal. I'm sorry, Lindsay. I don't. We can disagree. It's okay. I think it's normal, and I think it's that's actually my tactic. If I was trying to look, I don't remember I mentioned like women are information gatherers and men are like hunters. It's the same thing online, right? So women love to have these like long conversations. I have to get to know him, and men are like, no, I'm done with this. Let's get off. And so one way to not get the dating fatigue online is to, I always call it like volley for serve, right? 3 messages and back and forth, and then we got to figure out how to meet in real life. So I actually would use this as an opportunity personally to be like, that sounds great. Awesome. I can't do right now, but I can do today at 7 or tomorrow at 5. Like, give 2 options.
Okay.
And that to me will gauge like how serious are they, or are they just, you know, I like the idea of a phone call because you get to vet someone over voice. You can, I think, learn a lot about someone instead of like getting dolled up to meet someone who doesn't look like their photo or whatever. Like, oh, maybe this also translates to FaceTime too. You know, like kind of have that digital experience. I think it has become normal. Our company set up 300 first dates over Zoom in 2020, which was like insane to us, from a company that would set up, you know, just as many first dates in person in places. And 200 of those went on second dates in real life. And I find that age demo that you mentioned, that I find that it might be normal, especially like when you start going from 40 to 55. Like, I know that's higher than what you're probably looking for, but these people don't want to be, they're busy. So they're like, let me just get on the phone, figure out who she is and go. You know, it's up to you on if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that and you want to go in real life, Lindsay just gave a really great text template. Use this. I love it.
I think you deserve an in-person date.
I do too.
Yeah. Especially being newly single. Get it.
So, like, I guess you both have very defined opinions around relationships. So I was just wondering, when you hear another person's opinions around relationships, like differing opinions, does it make you question your own?
No.
No? Okay.
Not at all.
So you're
But
not
that's
sure.
a really good question. I stand by.
There
No, thank you.
There are
text.
millions of singles. Not everyone has to prescribe to every philosophy. And that's what I love that they chose Lindsey and I here. We have very differing opinions and philosophies and outlooks in the world. But Lindsey comes from her own experiences. I come from my own experiences. They're both valid. You get to decide which one you feel more comfortable with.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
spending
you
time
guys
with us.
so much for coming.